What is up, everyone? This is Matt Black, and welcome to the podcast. And I said this like a million times. Like I have to say that. Like I've tried. There are sessions that I go into when I make this, and I don't say this is Matt Black, and then I realize that for legal reasons I have to say that. Otherwise, people will assume. Not that anyone will assume it's automatically that it's someone else. Obviously, that's not the case. But I mean, you never really know these days what what other people may and or may not assume. So we have a couple of things that I want to talk about. First of all, thing number one is yesterday was our quote unquote liberation day here in the US, where we discussed where President Donald Trump came out and he did this big thing where he talked about the tariffs and how other countries are have like these large tariff percentages against us, and it's about time that we uh, we raise our tariffs ourselves. So now our tariff, I think, is like against other countries, it ranges from like $6 to like 9% to as high as 95% against some countries. But countries like Lima, even countries like the McDonald Islands, where no one lives, and the Democrats couldn't get enough of that because they were like, "Oh my God, no one lives on the McDonald Islands. How could you tariff it?" I mean, respectfully, we don't know who lives on the McDonald Islands. I mean, they say no one lives there, but I guess, like, in the case of national security, are we sure that no one lives there? I feel like there may be people living there that we don't know about, but I mean, like, whatever, and maybe there's some reason it's not inhabited. I don't pay attention to it, so I have no clue. But based on the tariffs, there's got to be something going on there that we may or may not know about here as a general consensus of the general public. So there's that. Oh man, it has been a wild, wild ride these past. I want to say 3 months, but it's really been about 2 months. We've barely gotten into the first full year, but Donald Trump's been doing some crazy stuff. He began firing people. This morning I woke up and heard he fired a bunch of people with the help of Laura Looney. With her help, he went on to, dismiss several of his staff members. So that was interesting to see. We've also seen the other day we had the senator from New Jersey, Cory Booker. He did some things that really pissed me off. He got up there and he did this 24-hour marathon speech, and It was a very long spiel. He went on to talk about several different things, but he mostly spoke about migration and immigrants from the past for like 25 hours. And I started essentially just like, I was watching it for a good bit, and I obviously liked the video and tried to like it more than other people did. So while it was live streaming on the AP, I was tapping away on that mouse pad. I was like, you can't like this video more than me. But while I was listening to what he was saying, I was very, very upset because I started thinking this man might be slightly deranged. No, not I'm not like in a not in a terribly critical way, but in a I am slightly concerned way about why he got up there and then he started talking about Parkinson's disease. Uh, his I believe one of his grandparents or his parents had disease. He started talking about uh, other people who had illnesses, people who were deported, all these different things that he started talking about. For them, one second, Cory Booker. I gotta make my script while I'm doing this. And it's just been crazy. In retaliation for Donald Trump's tariffs, we had China, Canada, some countries in Europe and Japan. Other countries have given us tariffs, have tariffed our goods. Denmark is one specific company, one specific country, sorry, in particular, that has decided to do away with all U.S. products. Last night, from a news article and a video and an article that I came across, it discussed where Denmark said that they would no longer be providing American products at their stores, even though they may import some or not. They'll be putting stars on their grocery store things, the little things with the price tag, little price tags on there. They'll have stars on it to indicate that those are Denmark products or products that are locally sourced, as opposed to U.S. products that will be unstarred. Canada, I believe, has already pulled many U.S. products from its shelf. Uh, because Canada was the first one to feel the brunt force of the U.S. tariffs, because Donald Trump obviously threatened tariffs against Canada and China, primarily over the fentanyl crisis, because there's been so much fentanyl coming into the U.S. Like, I mean, it's insane. Like, I mean, I want to say that the fentanyl problem has gotten better here in California, but I'm going to be honest with you in lieu and in light, well, in light, not in lieu, but in light of the upcoming Olympics here in California and Los Angeles, we've the politicians here have really been trying to clean up the streets. Now, I believe they've been trying to clean up the streets, you know, it just as a general consensus because they want to get people into homes, they want to help people, they want to clean people up, help people clean up their act, and get jobs and live, like they want to be contributing members of society and contribute to the U.S. economy as everybody else does when they work hard and pay taxes. But there's also the argument in my head internally and externally through various conversations with other people that the likelihood of all of this happening may have much more to do with the upcoming Olympics than it does for politicians suddenly caring about people in the US or in the state of California. But for my time of being in California, which is before even the Olympics, I came to California in 2022. Um, and my time here in California, I've seen a lot of really bad things because when I came to California, it was 2 years after the pandemic. A lot of states, a lot of states were still recovering from the pandemic and the disaster that was the pandemic. The lives, people who lost jobs, different things, and then once the pandemic relief stopped, you started to see real evictions starting to happen, people getting thrown out into the streets, and then you started to see a lot of changes occurring, people looking for jobs, trying to grab jobs, hold on to jobs, etc. But by the time I came to California, I went to San Francisco, and it was in 2022. That's where I learned about California's not California specifically, but in generally. But that's where I learned about San Francisco's really bad drug problem, because San Francisco has a terrible drug problem. What I mean, one time I was working in California. I was in San Francisco. I was working at a hotel, and one time I come out of the hotel, and there was a guy doing drugs right outside of the hotel, like right outside on the street, laying down comfortably with his backpack perched behind him, with what obviously was a crystal meth like pipe or something. The only reason I know what that is because I watched a couple episodes of Breaking Bad. I watched a couple episodes of Breaking Bad and I learned what that was, and ever since then, that's the only way I know it, because I don't know what these things are. I'm from New York, I'm from New Jersey, and where I'm from, I don't see that kind of stuff. I've never seen any of this before in my life. I didn't know people actually did these things. Like, I knew like there were documentaries about people doing it. I know there were movies and television shows about people doing hard drugs like this. And sometimes you'll hear about it in songs, like hip hop songs and rap songs. Like the rappers will talk about the drug use and the selling drugs and things like that. But I'd never seen a person do drugs in my life before, until that day when I stepped outside of the hotel and I saw this guy lying down on the street doing like crystal meth. And I'm thinking to myself, what the is happening, man? I've never seen that before. The thing, it's like insane to me that I would even see that. Following that, just being in San Francisco for as long as I was in San Francisco for about a year, where I spent the bulk of my time in California was in San Francisco. And the only thing that I ever saw there was mostly people just doing drugs on the street. And to be honest, it was really scary. In a way, it was very scary. I didn't like know that this was something I was going to encounter. One time there were people in front of like the bar, because there was a bar in the corner, and they were just out of their mind. Then there were like robberies. One time I walked into a Walgreens, no, CVS and Walgreens. I walked into a CVS because I was looking for a CVS pharmacy, because my doctor had sent a prescription and I wanted to go get my prescription. And when I go into the CVS, a guy walked into CVS and said, "Hey, do you guys have sandwiches?" And then the woman was like, "Yeah, we have sandwiches." And the guy goes back to the back of the store, and I'm talking to the woman. She's telling me about how that CVS doesn't have a pharmacy, and I have to go to another CVS for the pharmacy. And I was like, okay, cool. Just let me, I'll check my, Google Maps and see if I can find it. Just tell me exactly where it is, and I'll go to that specific one. And we were talking about that, and then the guy that asked about the sandwich goes and grabs a sandwich and literally walks out of the store. Now this guy had a scooter, an electric scooter with him. He walked in, grabbed the sandwich, and then he just walked out of the door. Me and the woman watched this guy walk out of the door. She noticed him, and I said, "What the hell?" And she said, "What the heck?" And she ran to the door like, "Hey, no, you have to pay for that." And I'm like running after him, like, "Sir, no, you have to pay for this." And he just keeps going, and he gets on his scooter and like zips away. And I was like, "Okay, this is unbelievable. This is unbelievable." My time in San Francisco was insane. I mean, it wasn't insane, it was great, but it was insane. I had one time I was, where was I? I was, I was in a Walgreens and I think I was picking up body wash. And not that I'm supposed to tell you what I was picking up at the Walgreens specifically, but I was picking up body wash and I walked in there and there were some people who obviously, they were unhoused, and probably had been for a very long time. They walked into that Walgreens behind me, not necessarily behind me, but after me. While I was waiting on the line for the cash register, they walked in and they just grabbed a bunch of stuff and like walked right out. And the security guard is like chasing them and trying to stop them, and they just kept going. I had another one where I was in that same Walgreens because it was close next to where I was staying, and I go back into that Walgreens, and a group of girls came in, and they were at the makeup section, and they were fiddling with things. They were trying to take things, and then the security guard, like, put them out, and they pretty much yelled at the security guard and said, "Hey, you can't touch me because if you touch me, you'll go to jail because it'll be assault." And then she told the other girls, she was like, "Oh, they can't touch you. If you steal from here, they can't touch you anyway because they'll get arrested." And I was like, "That's not true. What?" So I went to work because, again, remember, I'm from New York and New Jersey. I went to work the following day and I was talking to one of my colleagues at the time, and my one of my then colleagues, and he explained to me, like, yes, in California there was like a law. I'm not sure if it was like local to San Francisco, but he said in California there's a law stating that if you are arresting someone, you can't like grab them up or like injure them or anything like that, because or you can't stop them, like a security guard can't like pull them and stop them because you'll get arrested. You'll get in more trouble than they will for stealing because they'll say that you assaulted them and it causes a bigger mess. And that's why a lot of the security guards and the police officers don't want to stop these people. And I was like, well, this is ridiculous. I don't want people walking into the store behind me and robbing me. It was really bad. They eventually closed down that Walgreens. Uh, they eventually closed down the Walgreens. One of the reasons, and then after they closed it down, during not after they closed it down, but I believe the day that they were set to close, a car drove into the store. The store is right on the corner. I kid you not. A car drove into the store. Literally, drove right into the store. Insane. And now that I think about it, in my head now, I could say this seems like an insurance payout thing. Maybe a family opened it. They had to close down all the Walgreens, and maybe they were looking to get insurance money. Maybe they were pissed off. Maybe I don't know. Walgreens doesn't seem like it's a. It doesn't seem like Walgreens is a. It's a, yeah. What is it? Like McDonald's and 7-Eleven. I'm pretty sure Walgreens is a corporate company owned by its corporation, and not specifically so if it is a what is it called? It's called a like Planet Fitness. They're like uh what are they called? It's like a business model. It's like they're I forgot the name of it. They are like not necessarily not flagships. They are a business model where you can go in there and buy or set up your own version. You say, hey, have a I want my own Planet Fitness, and they'll say, okay, cool, you can come have your own Planet Fitness. I know what it's called. I can't remember the name. I can never remember. Hold on, Planet Fitness and 7-Eleven or what business models? Because I can't remember things right now. They are franchises. Sorry, they're franchises. So I almost call them something else. Oh yeah, but they're franchises. But I don't think McDonald's is also a franchise. And a lot of people don't know that McDonald's is also a franchise. I always find it interesting when a lot of people don't know that certain businesses are franchises. I remember who I was talking to, and they were yelling at someone at McDonald's, and they were saying, "Yeah, this is why blah blah working for some corporate." Blah, blah. And I was like, "McDonald's is a fucking franchise, dude. Like legit, it's a franchise." I believe most of the McDonald's obviously might be a part of the corporate machine, like the corporation. It may be like flagships or something, but I'm sure that. But I know for a fact that many McDonald's stores are literally franchises. Many of them are franchises. Um, uh, man, that is crazy to me. It's so crazy. The drug problem in California is so bad. The robbery thing in California was so bad. I've seen people getting chased out of stores. When I worked at one store, we used to have people come in and they would try to steal things, and I'd have to go check after them and make sure they did not steal something. And then I also had where another situation where I went to go get something to eat, and or I walked into the place, and the people I've seen some very very San Francisco, I think, was the first place that really opened up my eyes to what the heck is going on in California. And I had to listen. Like, when you hear the politicians, people like Donald Trump, and they start talking about, oh, this looks like an open air drug market and blah, blah, blah. And I think to myself, well, I mean, the parts that I've seen for sure. But I'm, as a photographer, and I haven't been taking any photography for any real photos since I've been in Los Angeles or California. I've taken photos, but I haven't gone out and done as much as I would typically do. In San Francisco, I went out to go take photos, a lot of photos, and I rarely there. The issue in San Francisco is really, at least in my opinion, is really, really uh, centralized to one area. It's in one area specifically. It's in the Tenderloin. Other parts of California, you don't see, or San Francisco, you don't see these major issues. Now, certainly there are robberies and break-ins in certain parts of California, but and certain parts of San Francisco, but you really only saw that drug issue downtown San Francisco, and not all over downtown, but in like the Tenderloin. When I worked at a bike rental shop, I remember they were saying when we were talking to customers about where they can ride their bikes to, we would always say, don't ride in this specific area. But you can ride anywhere, just not in this specific area. And I thought that was interesting. It's a very, 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 very interesting part to see. Um, the other thing about that is I also had mm, mm, I'd never seen that before. I called 911 one time in San Francisco about people doing drugs in the street, and I said, there are people doing drugs here, there are children around, can you come do this? And I swear to God, the 911 operator never came to the phone. Never. She never came to the phone. Ever, man. I was on, I was dial tone, voicemail for 911. I didn't even know 911 had a voicemail. I did not know 911 had a voicemail. In New York City, you call 911, they pick up the phone. New Jersey, you call 911, they pick up the phone. In San Francisco, I called 911, it went to voicemail. I didn't know 911 had a voicemail. This is 2022, 2023. I didn't know they had a voicemail. Since when does 911 have a voicemail? That I think that was the part that sent me off the edge. I was like, I gotta leave San Francisco because this place is, what is this? Like, why does 911 have a voicemail? And I don't need, for me, it's like, this is not even about a location thing at this point. Maybe it's because of where I'm calling from. Maybe if I go further up Nob Hill and call 911, I won't get a voicemail. But I mean, it's just ridiculous. And then the next thing about the police in San Francisco is their vehicles are old and outdated. Their vehicles are dated. These cops in San Francisco need new, at least in the downtown San Francisco area. They need new police cars. Their police cars look like a 1960s movie about bad guys, or like a Bad Boys movie or something. I don't know, like some kind of weird 1960s, one of those 1960s movies. Okay, it looks terrible. Like you're gonna see a drug bust gone wrong. kind of fiasco. Are they even using 9 millimeters? Do they have updated guns? What are they using? It's a very, very scary thing to see. But I've gotten hold of them a couple times, once or twice. One time I didn't really get a hold of them specifically, but I was walking out the street and I bumped into one of them. I had an issue one morning where I was going to work and a homeless woman had a blowtorch. She was drugged out of her mind, obviously, but she had a blowtorch and she threatened to light me up. And I was thinking to myself, I think this woman's gonna set me on fire. I called 911. The girl at the front desk, she called 911. Everybody called 911 collectively. All of a sudden, they showed up and they had this large orange large firearm on them. It was obviously a shotgun, but it didn't seem like it was going to fire any kind of lethal rounds, but it was going to fire some kind of rounds if necessary. And I was like, this is what we need. Yes, thank you. This woman is crazy. Oh my God. When I came to LA, that wasn't the issue. Here in LA, none of that was like an issue at all. And I'm not even gonna joke with you. Like this is like legit the truth. In Los Angeles, I did not experience any of that. In Los Angeles, the only thing I've seen is like you'll see like a couple people doing drugs here or there, one or two maybe, but the bulk of what you're gonna see in Los Angeles compared to San Francisco is a bunch of homeless encampments. Like you'll see a lot more homeless encampments here than you'll see in San Francisco, and the worst part is is the further downtown you go, the more likely you are to see more encampments on some of the streets, like some of the major streets. So like when I took the bus to go see the movie the other day, I was like, hey, I want to sit and I want to be near the window so I can see, outside, so I can see different parts of the area that I'd like to, grab my camera and go walk around and take some photos. This will be really, really exciting. That was not the case at all. In fact, what actually ended up happening was that when I did see some places I would like to go take photos, but the bulk of what I saw at one point was just an entire sidewalk, like one entire side of the street is just straight up encampments all over there. Like the streets dirty, trash is on the ground, people can barely walk by, and it's just encampments. To the point where I literally noticed that one person got on the bus at one stop and took the bus all the way to the second stop just so that they wouldn't have to walk by the encampment. And I was like, this entire strip of encampments is crazy. And then there was another situation where I was staying in a different part of Los Angeles at one point, another part that was also closer to the downtown area, but in a different part. And I saw a couple going for a run, and they had to run by a bunch of encampments, and I was like, this is crazy. How are people just running by encampments? This is not all right. Like this is crazy. And like I understand, and the problem is that most of these people that live in these encampments, they're not going to attack you or try to harm you. Most of them, and I've seen situations where I've seen other people go knocking on the doors and trying to meet with these people who live in the encampments, and they seem to like bring their kids and whatever the case to meet them, which is strange. I guess they knew the people, or they knew that specific person, but at the end of the day, it's a very strange situation. We have on social media, you'll see people like Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom talk about getting people off the street. There being no homeless encampments anymore in Los Angeles. We're cleaning up here. We've gotten these Angelinos off the street. I've gotten used to the word Angelinos now, and none of them are off of the street. Most of them get off the street and they end up back on the street. I remember another time, Karen Bass made this lovely post, and I thought to myself, "Oh my God, she's doing the Lord's work, the universe's work. What's happening?" And then all of a sudden, I got in an Uber and I was on my way to the studio, and there were all under the bridge, just a bunch of encampments because the week before when I'd gone to the studio, there were no encampments, and I thought to myself, "Oh, there's no encampments. Oh my God, okay, cool. They're doing great work here." The next week, The encampments were right back. They were right back. I don't know if it was the same people or if it were other new people, but they were back, and they were back in the plentiful, that were bountiful, bigger infrastructure, larger infrastructure. I mean, these guys, these people who are building these encampments might as well go into architecture. Okay, if somebody wants to help the local infrastructure, hire them because they seem to know how to put these things together, and they're doing a pretty all right job building forts. Now, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Obviously, I'm not being disrespectful. Honestly, I'm just kind of giving them some credit because like that shit's hard to do. I know for a fact that that's got to be hard to do because personally, I wouldn't be able to do it. God forbid. But all I can say is like this is crazy to me. It's crazy to see it. Like it's really crazy. It's insane to me. Uh, but the thing about people doing drugs on the street here in Los Angeles is not as bad as San Francisco. Like it's not as bad. That's not a big problem. Have I seen people doing hard drugs here in California, in Los Angeles? Yes. When I've gone to the gym one day, I saw a guy literally doing the same thing the other guy was doing outside of the hotel that I worked in. He was doing the same thing, the same drug there. And I thought to myself, you would think that being on the street would be the time that you think that you think to yourself, maybe I should stop doing this. Being on the street like this, doing drugs, is at some point you got to be like, you know what? I got to stop doing drugs because look at where I am right now. And that's not what happened. That is not at all what happened. They're still doing it, and I saw one person doing it. Another time, I saw another person who was not doing drugs, but he was lighting stuff on fire. But this was not like San Francisco. In San Francisco, these guys were doing the absolute worst. I mean, they were lighting things on fire. So one time we came out in the morning, I came outside of my building, and there was a fire in the trash can. A homeless person had come by and set fire to the trash can. The people were taking shits in the street. They were defecating in the street all over the place in San Francisco. You'll walk out of your apartment, you'll walk out of your building, and there might be some defecation on the street. Unbelievable. And I know that like I don't know anything because I don't know if this is even right. It was just messed up. San Francisco also had a situation where Mayor, at the time it was Mayor London Breed, she was the mayor. She was they had Kim Jong Un coming into San Francisco for an event, an Asian like a tech event. I believe it might have been specifically catered to like an Asian community. I don't remember what it was. Forgive me for that. I'm not trying to be offensive here. Um, he came in for an event. Obviously, Kim Jong Un came in, and when Kim Jong Un was coming, Gavin Newsom came to San Francisco, obviously, to meet with him, and Gavin Newsom cleaned up San Francisco. Gavin Newsom came to San Francisco for to meet with this guy and cleaned up San Francisco. Streets that were littered in dirt, debris, encampments, etc. He cleaned it up in in less than a day. Less than an hour, he had all that shit cleaned up. Everybody inside the shelters, etc. He cleaned the entire thing up, and San Francisco, people in San Francisco were literally thinking and saying, making statements on social media, making statements publicly on the media and news, stating how this is what San Francisco needs to look like all the time, but this is not what it looks like because every other day San Francisco does not look like this, and by the end of the week, it's going to look just the way it did before because all these people are going to be right back on the street, and Mayor London Breed isn't going to do anything about it. And that's exactly what happened. By the end of the event, Kim Jong Un left, and San Francisco was right back to where it was the week before, the day before he came there and did that. Now, I don't know what else to say about that. Now, Gavin, it's crazy. Gavin Newsom has been on this tirade where he's been trying to clean up California. I'm not necessarily saying Los Angeles specifically, but he's really been trying to clean up California as a whole, entirely. He really wants to clean up California and fix this homeless problem. Or at least this is what this is what he's, this is the facade that he's shown us. Because he's out there, he's building up, not building up, sorry, he's going out there, putting on his jeans, putting on gloves, going out with a crew, and they are cleaning up the streets of California and Los Angeles, like, quite often. So he's making that effort. But also Gavin Newsom is we already know that this guy is looking to run in 2028. Him and Cuomo. Cuomo is leading in New York. Like, Mayor Eric Adams can't catch a break. I highly doubt Eric Adams is going to beat Cuomo. I'm telling you that right now. Eric Adams is not going to beat Cuomo. He's not going to beat Andrew Cuomo. Because everybody knows, and everybody in New York at this point knows, an Andrew Cuomo mayoral win is an Andrew Cuomo presidential bid. We know that. Eric Adams thinks he can run and win. Eric Adams is in a mess right now. If Eric Adams wins this election, it would be a miracle. It would mean the universe opened, the Red Sea parted a second time. There was a third coming. I don't even know if there was a second coming. There might have been a third, a fourth. I don't know. It would be like the entire planet would be in haywire, really going nuts if Eric Adams wins in New York. Eric Adams is not going to win in New York. They've dismissed all his charges. The DOJ dismissed all the charges that Biden has already ruined Eric Adams' reputation. And that's what they do. This is what I've been saying all the time. The Democrats will destroy their own people. They will tear down their own people for their own initiatives. That's what they do. A Democrat will turn on you faster than a Republican. And I've been trying to tell these to all of these Democratic people, these campaigners, these mayors, these politicians. I'm trying to tell these Democratic politicians, listen, your party will turn on you. You know that, right? The Democrats turn on Democrats faster than a Republican will turn on a Republican. Your party will turn on you. Because the Democratic Party turned on Mayor Eric Adams, and they turned their back and they turned it cold, because they took a Democratic president to bring down a Democratic mayor who was just trying to help his city, and that inherently led to what it's led to right now, where he has decided he no longer wants to be affiliated with the Democratic Party, and he's running as an independent in New York right now. But the chances of him winning is so slim, he might not even win. He's probably not going to win. Andrew Cuomo is going to win because Andrew Cuomo is up in the polls. People like Andrew Cuomo. And no one remembers what Andrew Cuomo did anymore because they think Andrew Cuomo is the only person who could handle Donald Trump. So he's the only person who can navigate New York City's politics, the institution that is New York City. He's the only person who can speak with Donald Trump. He's the only person who can have some form of something, get stuff done with Donald Trump. They doubt that Mayor Eric Adams is able to do that, but Eric Adams also has a pretty good relationship with the Trump administration already, with the new Trump administration, because you have to remember, it is the Trump DOJ that has gotten Eric Adams off. So now the question is, what does New York City actually want? They're saying that New Yorkers feel like Eric Adams is being bought by Donald Trump and blah, 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 and this, that, the third, the fourth, and the fifth, the 19th and the 18th. This is happening. Oh my goodness. But in hindsight, you had the whole situation. You also had another situation where Andrew Cuomo was the only person who was able to, in 2020, be combative with Donald Trump, go toe to toe, fist to fist, knee to knee, kneecap to kneecap. Okay? Cuomo was the only person capable of doing that. However, Cuomo killed a bunch of people accidentally, so he claimed. You get what I'm saying? I don't understand. This makes no sense. So right now, you only New York City only has two people who are fully capable of running a city under a Trump administration, and right now, Eric Adams is the only person who has any real insight, any real relationship with with Donald Trump now in his new term. And New Yorkers are ready to toss Eric Adams to the wayside when what they should be doing is telling Eric Adams, okay, cool, we'll work with you, but they're not going to do it because they think his reputation is soured as a result of Biden and now Trump trying to save him and now Andrew Cuomo running. New York doesn't know what it's going to do. So that's why I said I would bet $500 that New York will turn red in 2028. And everyone's like, that's not going to happen. That will never happen. I'm not going to take that. I don't believe that New York will turn red in 2028. New York might not turn red in 2028. Most people fully believe that New York will never turn red. It would. I don't know what it would take for New York to turn red, but we know for a fact that New York just might go red. It depends on the candidate. Andrew Cuomo's only running for mayor because only running for mayor because he wants to run for president. Gavin Newsom is only putting himself all over the news, all over media, all over every podcast he could possibly find because he's also going to run for president. So now you have two people that you know for a fact are going to run for president in 2028. You know for a fact they're going to put in their bid with the DNC. They're going to run in the primary to combat each other. Andrew Cuomo and Gavin Newsom. We know for a fact that those two are going up against each other. We know that. Who else is going to throw their hat in the ring? Probably Cory Booker. Because Cory Booker got up there and did this whole like 25-hour speech where he talked about nothing for 24 hours. Nothing that involved the American people. And I've said that a million times. The bulk of what he talked about that was not about the American people specifically. Like, I don't understand what he's doing. He wants to run in 2028, but I don't believe that he should even win the primary. In fact, I don't even think Cory Booker should be anywhere near a Democratic primary in 2028. I think Cory Booker needs to go back and do another 2025, sorry, another 25 hour spiel, 25-hour marathon spiel, where he actually talks about the good of the American people. Like, let me know what you're going to do. What kind of policies do you plan on passing? What do you plan on doing for us? Because I didn't hear a single word about that, and I just don't think that he should be running on that. It's not good enough. And then there was a woman on TikTok who she was like, "Oh, Cory Booker went on for a spiel for like 25 hours, and most of these people can't last any more than 20 seconds." And I was like, "Sweetheart, is there something you would like to share with us? Do you have something you want to share with the rest of the class here? Because how do you know what Mr. Booker is able to do? I need to know how you know what Mr. Booker is able to do because I feel like you have something you want to share with us." So, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know why these people do this. The Democrats are always doing that. They always get up there on stage and they try to do this whole thing. Well, like, well, my dick is bigger than yours. Because kind of what they go. That's what they do, and it's unnecessary. And I think it's stupid. They even got Obama to do it. Obama got up there and did it. He said it himself. I mean, what is happening in the Democratic Party? Have you guys lost it? I mean, I don't know. And they didn't win. They said all of that and still didn't win. Like, I don't understand what they're doing. It doesn't make any sense to me. And then everyone's like, "Oh my God, you're a Republican." I'm like, look, I'm an independent. I am in the middle here. I am looking at the nonsense that you guys are doing and I'm calling you out on it because it doesn't make any sense. I'm not saying that the Republicans are doing anything fantastic, but I'm definitely saying that everything that the Democrats are doing right now is very questionable as to what their actual intentions are for the American people, because I'm not seeing them doing anything for the American people besides talking. And I'm just being honest. What do you plan on doing besides talking? Because you're talking and you're talking about a whole lot of nothing, Mr. Booker. No offense. Well, actually, all the offense, because you're not giving us anything that we need. What are you going to do about your policies? What are you doing for the state of New Jersey? What do you plan on doing for the American people? How can children be understanding? What all of these different things? What are your laws for the young people? What are your laws for for the adults? What are your laws for the elderly? What are your policies? What are you going to do to help people who can't afford certain things? Are you going to give access to people in some way? What kind of access are you going to facilitate for us? Mr. Booker, do you plan on building more homes in your state? What do you plan on doing and making investments into healthcare for the general public and not just one specific demographic? What do you plan on doing, Mr. Booker? Because it doesn't seem like you're doing a whole lot of anything. Politics these days doesn't seem to be about policy anymore. It seems to be about me, if you get where my drift. He doesn't care about the people, his constituents. He doesn't care about his nationwide constituents. Mr. Booker only cares about himself because he only cares about what it's going to look like when the Democratic primaries roll around in 2028 in that March, and he decides that he wants to run. And he says, hey, I'm going to run for president. I need you to vote for me. I need you to vote so I can be the head of the ticket. I would like to be the head of the ticket for the DNC. I'd like to win. If Senator Booker runs for president, then the Democrats can kiss the Democrats can kiss the White House goodbye. I'm sorry, Booker's not becoming president of the United States, and I'm not gonna lie to you, and I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. Cory Booker is not going to be the next president of the United States. He's not going to win in 2028. He's not winning in 2028. The only person who's winning in 2028 might be Gavin Newsom or Andrew Cuomo. But it's highly likely if Gavin Newsom is able to pull off a great bid, Gavin Newsom's going to be the Democratic president in 2028. That's likely the truth of what's going to happen in 2028. I don't think there's another Democrat that is capable of doing what Gavin Newsom is doing. And I don't think there's another Democrat capable of winning a Democratic primary outside of Gavin Newsom or maybe Andrew Cuomo. Maybe. Because you have to look at who you're about to go up against. Who you're going up against is more than likely going to be Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. It could potentially be J.D. Vance running with Donald Trump as his vice president. If J.D. Vance runs with Donald Trump as his vice president, do you honestly think the American people, with what they've been gotten so far, we haven't gotten through a year yet. Let's go through the year. Let's go through the second year. Let's get to the third year, because once we get to the fourth year, we already know where we are. Okay? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. 100% honest with you. By the way it looks right now here in March 2025, Cory Booker is not winning any DNC anything. He's not going to win president. He's not going to become president of the United States anytime soon. If he keeps up this theatrics, he's going to lose funding for his state. That's one. Funding for the people that he clearly doesn't give a shit about because he isn't doing anything about it, about them. He got up there and he spoke about diddly squat. He didn't talk about anything that mattered, that really mattered. What are you doing for the American people, Booker? God damn. Oh my God. What are you doing about the American people, Booker? What do you plan on doing? Booker, come on. Who matters to you? The American people? Or the suit or everyone else? That's what we need to know. Who matters to you? I think all the Democrats need to ask themselves that question. Who matters to you? Who matters to you? When you ask the Democrats who matters to them, they're going to say their families, my kids, my family, my kids, my job. Do you care about the American people? Of course. I have to. It's my job. Do you actually care about the American people? Do you actually give a damn about the American people? I made a call for action the other day about saving the Blink cars in Los Angeles because we need more Blink cars in Los Angeles and we need to keep Blink as a company alive in Los Angeles because not having these car sharing services in Los Angeles and other parts of California is killing the ability of lower income residents to have any form of uh, motorized independence within these states. A bus ride from a bus ride from here to uh, a bus ride from here to like Beverly Hills. A very long bus ride. It's about an hour on the bus. A bus ride from here to uh, well, from where I am specifically, but traveling on public transportation in Los Angeles can range from 30 minutes to an hour. You could like gonna be on the bus for about an hour. You'll probably transfer during that hour. You'll probably be on one bus for an hour, then you have to transfer to another one. And if it's late in the evening time and you're just getting off of work, you're probably gonna be so tired that you probably fall asleep on the bus, miss your stop, and then you'll have to get on another bus in order to get to where you're going. They haven't completed these subway uh, developments that they've been putting down here for their trains, the D trains, and all these different ones to get around Los Angeles to give people access. So I've been trying to email and speak with these people about trying to get people access to vehicles and to homes and to things that will give people independence to get from point A to point B, even if that independence is paying $15 for an hour just to drive somewhere or spending $45 for 4 hours so that you can hang out with some friends, go meet some friends and maybe you and your friends don't want to take your car, but you want to drive to a different part of Los Angeles, or you want to drive to a different part of California for a little bit. Maybe you want to drive down to the beach, or you want to drive up to Hollywood. You want to go meet someone. You just want to go have a good time, and you don't want to spend too much time on the public transportation. I feel like this is a fantastic initiative. I feel like this is an initiative that should be across the state of California. Not necessarily the state of California specifically, but across the U.S. Shareable cars, rental vehicles should be available everywhere. And I know there are services like Zip and there are services like Toro that exist, but Toro is incredibly expensive. And for young people or someone like myself who isn't necessarily dripping in cash at the moment, a $15 for an hour drive, $15 for an hour drive. I mean, that's pretty, that's pretty affordable for me. I just drive for an hour. I just rent the car for the hour, drive where I have to go do what I have to do, come back, go to the grocery store myself, and I don't have to spend, an extra 20 or $40. I don't have to spend extra money, you know, on the Uber driver, tipping the Uber driver, getting the groceries, etc. And the car drives off and all these different things. There's several things. I saw it happen to a woman the other day. Oh, I was leaving the gym. I was leaving the gym and I saw a woman getting her groceries out of the back of an Uber, and the Uber started driving off, and she had to. Lucky for her, the Uber was making a U-turn, so she was able to stop him, so she could get the rest of her groceries. Otherwise, she would have been upset. She would have had to call Uber and call them to get them to have that guy come all the way back to her place and bring her groceries back. It's crazy. One time I forgot my shoes in an Uber. I swear to God, I forgot my shoes in an Uber and I reached out to try to get the Uber driver to come back with my shoes, and the Uber driver never reached back out to me and he took my shoes. 110% he took my shoes and did not give it back to me. I never got them back. Ever. And I reached out to try to get it, and I was like, this is fucked up. So, I mean, these are just the theatrics of the situation. I think that those shareable driving cars are just a very great initiatives. I know we have Waymo and I know we have Uber, but some people really do like their independence. You know, I would rather drive myself somewhere than take an Uber or take a Waymo. That's just a fact. Some people like that. You know, you drive in the car, you put the music on, you sing along to the music, and you let the windows down, and you so you have a nice little time. You have a second to think out loud, and you know, just like verbalize your thoughts because you don't need no one's around. I mean, you know, these are fantastic scenarios that occur and people have this level of independence. And a lot of people aren't able to afford these, you know, a car. And even with California's initiative, we have a lot of people in California who are consistently moving around and don't have a permanent address as a result of living situations. So a vehicle access like a car sharing service is vital to someone's ability to move around. So say like because it can assist with them potentially having a more permanent residence. It can lead to more permanent residences here in California. It's a very important part of being sustainable, independent, self sufficient, and adding to the economy, not just locally, but federally, nationwide as well. I think it's a great initiative. They ran a pilot program, and they said it's coming to an end here in April. Um, it's really sad to see it go, but I really want to see this initiative fought for, and I want to see it stick around so it can help people, not just myself, but other Angelinos. I think that it's a very important initiative. I think we should be paying attention to it, and we should help these people. Um, but yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. I apologize for yawns. Oh, another yawn. I apologize. um, Thanks for listening. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next session. Bye bye.